Everybody, I'm Doug Mark, president of LearningZen, and I am here today with 5 franchising questions. And my guest is Jeff Horst, who is the CEO of Rocket Barn Marketing. Jeff, thanks for being on the show. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, well, you and I had met at the Springboard conference, and so I'm definitely going to have a Springboard question that pops up. But the whole reason why we built this little podcast was to kind of give a voice to the suppliers out there. So there's a lot of people who, watch the show and follow it that, may not know exactly what you do, because I know you're Rocket Barn Marketing, but you're a full digital marketing agency as well. So could you kind of tell the audience a little bit about Rocket Barn and how you support franchising?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny you use the language full agency, because I wouldn't say that's quite what we are. So let me share a little bit about Rocket Barn. So we're a digital marketing partner to franchise brands. And what we mean by that is we're focused on the consumer marketing side, helping your franchisees drive more business. And in the agency world of marketing, there's so many different products, and I think it gets confusing for a lot of people. We've really focused on an area. And so our expertise lie in Google, a lot of the Google products that are out there, and helping franchisees really drive more business. So, there's a big pie. You can do Fran Dev marketing, there's PR, there's social media, there's all these different pieces. We're really focused on, Google ads, kind of advertising products that drive tangible results for the franchise owner, and helping franchise brands manage that relationship with the franchisee, because it's tough. There's a big education gap. There's a lot of support that needs to happen. And a lot of times brands just aren't doing what is possible out there. So we're a partner in that and really help franchise brands elevate their local marketing.
Well, I love to hear that, because I think when we think about, franchisee owners, they don't always have expertise in all of these different areas. And marketing is one that I realize, how important it was for LearningZen. I wished I dumped a whole bunch of money and effort into this earlier on, to be totally honest with you. So that's a lesson learned for me. When I'm thinking about just kind of understanding your guys' model, are you traditionally trying to meet with franchisees, or are you meeting with franchisors are you trying to, sell to the franchisors so that all franchisees are staying consistent using your services and things like that? Or is it to individual franchisees themselves?
Yeah, great question. Where we got started, like how we found franchising, was actually through a franchisee and just working in their local community, creating a success story, and then being introduced to the franchisor. Now that we've been in the space for a while, we don't work with any brand unless the franchisor is aware of what's going on, endorses it. And, we really want to be part of the brand. We don't want to, have some sneaky strategy to try to get in. So now I would say we always go through the ZOR. It's really important to be aligned with their objectives. However, it is often franchisee led, meaning budgets. Where's this money coming from? And it's often the franchisee. There's a few of them in a network who are really keen. So we often have a relationship with the ZOR, but then really find a few franchisees who want to pilot it, want to test it out. And we have a number of different models depending on the organization, but it's often directly with franchisees through the franchisor.
A lot of what we do in marketing is starting to come into play a little bit in the education, side of things as well, with the training, because when we think about where people learn, and that's really changed over the last few years, right? It's sites like YouTube and TikTok and Instagram, and it's watching people, do things. And so there's almost like this need to be entertained, I think, with the training materials. And I think that's true with marketing as well.
It's tough, because I think every brand struggles with this. When you really get in touch with what makes you different, what are you connected to, and a lot of times similar words pop up, right? Like the word honesty, or we really want to be. Our mission is to be the most trusted, agency partner in the marketing space in franchising, and so. But a lot of people say that, and so what are you doing, and what's the proof? And a lot of it comes down to referrals from clients. Like at the end of the day, we can say as much about ourselves as we want. It really comes down to customers and, them saying, hey, yes, they've delivered. I've had a relationship with them for 8 years. Here's why you can trust them. Yeah.
When you started Rocket Barn and when you had this vision, were you thinking franchising all along, or did franchising present itself to you?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I was 21 when I started this. It's a long time ago. I had no idea, where we were going in the big sense.
Yeah.
It was just exciting. Kind of got the entrepreneurial bug. But where we started was working with small business owners. So I remember our first customer was like a cosmetic clinic. They did like Botox and hair removal, laser hair removal, stuff like that. And they gave us a budget of $500 a month. And so I went, okay, what can I do with this? And, put all our efforts in, and we did everything we could with that budget, but quickly learned that the expectations were up here from the client and the reality of what we could accomplish. But we came back and said that, in full honesty, we just said, hey, look, I don't know if this is working. It's not achieving your goals. And fully expecting them to just quit. And instead we got, okay, well, what's next? What else can we try? And really built a relationship. And so that was where we started the business. And we just did that for many years at the local level, worked with all kinds of industries, learned about all these little niche markets out there. And I loved that. I always loved the relationship with the owner, and they gave you honest feedback and, really challenged us, but then also the diversity of the different types of things we worked on. And it was through that we worked with a local franchisee in the restoration space, like a really random market. If you don't know about it, when you first find out, you're like, oh yeah, someone has to clean up all these messes, right? And it was through that relationship that we created a success story. And then they were like, hey, you got to meet the rest of our network. Other people are going to want this. And so that was kind of part of the answer. But we did always have a vision for something bigger. And it was around how can we be smart with our marketing? We always love the little guy. Like I always love, investing in the person who's really got the relationship with the community. And I loved business owners in community. I got to know a lot of them in my community, and they're often giving back through charity or just really plugged in. And they're not just a brand or a face. They're actually part of the community. And so we were always like, how can we help them out at a larger scale? And we didn't know franchising existed, but we were in essence asking for that. And so what we did was we would often look for dealer networks. Someone might sell a product into a whole bunch of locations. And so we tried a bunch of those angles. We worked with some big hedge funds who were buying up a bunch of small mom and pop shops, but none of those kept the relationship component in place. It was all about the money, and it was kind of big business. And so when we found franchising, we're like, wow, it's in a way a balance of those things. It's still big business, big opportunity. You can be efficient. You can collect a lot of data, because it's really hard in the marketing world to win if you're just working with $500 in one location. You don't know enough to be successful. So it was like this beautiful wow. And that was about, I think, 8 or 9 years ago when we first discovered franchising.
I had the pleasure of meeting your colleague, Matt Martin, while I was at Springboard as well. And for those of you that don't know, Matt is a musician who moved down to Nashville, Tennessee to follow his dreams. At the same time, he's helping grow that Rocket Barn brand. Hey, Jeff, what is your favorite Matt Martin song?
We used to be in a band together, so I've heard lots of his stuff from way back when. But that's a past life. I think you're talking about Matt Martin country, his current stuff. I think his latest single, Different Places, I love that song. It kind of, I found his voice, and that one definitely stood out to me. And so that's probably my favorite. But definitely we have a lot of songs that I've been able to enjoy over the years. And we actually had a friend who passed away at a young age, and Matt wrote a tribute song to her. That one's always been kind of special to me. And it was just wild. He wrote it in like 24 hours, and it was just like super touching. And that was kind of the first song, and probably my favorite still to this day.
So in addition to being the CEO of Rocket Barn, you're also the founder of Family Hockey Food. Tell me about this.
Oh yeah. Wow. That's a throwback. I mean, it's not something that's active right now, but what it ties into is ball hockey. And I had a passion for ball hockey. And then when I used to be very involved in the local chamber of commerce, and just got involved in a lot of local charities. And So yeah, that was kind of it was kind of a wild connection, but I wanted to bring my passions together. And so, family hockey food was an idea of like getting corporations to play against each other. So there was kind of like get the local 2 law firms to play each other. And then where I live, there's kind of 2 municipalities. So we had the cities play each other. We had the 2 different cop departments or firefighters play each other. And it was all just to raise funds and support. But yeah, that was a while back. I haven't done that. I kind of realized I'm not an events person after doing that and realizing how stressful they are. And anybody who goes to an event, to me, I just now respect any smooth event that happens. I know how much work went into it.
Jeff, thanks so much for coming on. We really appreciate it. How do our followers get in touch with you?
Yeah, I think LinkedIn is where I'm the most active. So look me up on LinkedIn, Jeff Horst, Rocket Barn. You'll find me. And a lot of people, they'll go and then they just click follow, connect. I'd love to connect with you. Connection just means we can send, messages to each other. You and I have been communicating on there.
Yeah.
So I'm active there, and definitely most of my content lives there. That would be where, if you want to reach out to me directly, jeff@rocketbarn.com. Pretty simple too.
All right. Well, thanks a lot for coming on. We really appreciate it. Thank you all for watching. Please remember to follow, recommend it to your friends. We are on YouTube and Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and TikTok these days. So we're trying it all right now, Jeff. We're trying everything we can. So thanks again for coming on. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
All right.